Hello and welcome to this edition of Minstrels on the Block, where we bring you the finest singer-songwriters in the Valley area and beyond. This week's special guest is the Wayne Minor Band. And with us today is Wayne Minor.
Thank you.
Appreciate you being on the show.
Yes, sir. Glad
George
to be
Miles.
Good to see you.
And the illustrious Dr. Pogo, Mr. John Phillips.
Hi.
Glad to have you on the show. So tell me about yourself, starting with you, Wayne. Where were you born?
Well, I was born and raised in a little small town in South Georgia, McRae, Georgia, if you've ever heard of it. If you're going through there, don't blink your eyes or you'll miss it. And started out with my family being in music. My dad was a gospel singer, Southern gospel singer. And my aunt was a piano player in a big band that I learned a lot from. And just kind of grew up in a musical background. And so here I am.
Very cool. Now, what brings you to Columbus?
Well, we wanted to come over here and showcase some of our music. George and I started this project, I guess, about 4 years ago. Mm-hmm. And, you know, for several years I put music on the back burner, having kids and working the 9-to-5 gig, you know. But the kids are all up and grown and have families of their own, and it's time for old Dad to rock and roll.
Time to rock, that's what I'm talking about.
So that's what we're doing here.
Awesome. How about you, George?
Abandoned by Eskimos, I fell out of the Fiegle. Just kidding. Dad was an infantry officer, and over the many years of his career, we went in and out of Columbus and surrounding areas. And I always liked it over here. I did the soldier thing for a while and lived in between Wayne and here, and this is a good place to come play. I met John as a result of coming around this neck of the woods.
Cool. Yeah. And you couldn't ask for better.
That's right.
All right.
Now, John, you know, we have heard some of your history before, but that was over 100 episodes ago. So
Yeah, I was on the show episode number 3, long time ago, February of 2000. Blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
And since then, I've gotten myself married and moved to Warner Robins and met these guys, and we play in if I say so myself, a pretty hot band together, and we have a good time. But I'm a North Georgia boy. I was raised in Athens, and then went to the University of Georgia, studied music, and moved down to Columbus to study at Columbus State. Got to hanging out with folks like Brian at places like the Loft, where we were playing music. Started playing music with Brian about 7 years ago or so, and got out in the scene and have been going nonstop ever since.
The indispensable John Phillips.
Yeah.
Now, Wayne, now you obviously come from a musical background.
Sure.
What got you interested in it? Was it that or separate catalyst, or what made
Well,
you?
you know, I've had so many different people that has inspired me over the years. You know, my dad, like I mentioned before, being a gospel singer. Mm-hmm. You know, I used to get up on Sunday mornings and he'd have the Southern gospel piano players ripping through the house. You know, channels wide open, and then it went on from there. I think, like many other musicians from the Southeast here, mm-hmm. people like the Allman Brothers and people like that inspired us to kind of get serious about our music, you know. But you know, it's kind of what we do. We only do our own music. We don't do any cover material. So if you guys want to hear any cover material, you're coming to the wrong place. But that's kind of what we do. We showcase what we create, and so that's kind of our life, man. What we do.
And these are the most creative cats I've ever hung with, so yay for them.
We're our own studio audience. So, George, what got you into music?
I'd have to say it was the blues. I heard some stuff on Radio Free Europe when I was a little kiddo over in Germany, and it so entranced me I'd pretend like I was asleep, and when my folks went to sleep, I'd creep out into the living room and turn it on real low with my head up to it.
Oh, man. Awesome.
And hang out there for a while until they turned it off, because back in the 50s, they didn't run stuff all day and all night. They used to save the television commercials up for the last 30 minutes of TV from 11:30 to 12. So after that was over, it was time for the blues. Life was good.
There you go.
John, how about you?
Well, I got into music through the public schools. I had a wonderful pair of band directors from middle school all the way through high school. They're retiring this year after 30 years of teaching band in Jackson County in North Georgia. And they did an amazing job. Got me started on the road to wasting my life. And I left from there and went to Georgia and studied classical music and was in a symphony for a while, and then got out and started playing drum set with people and picked up a few other instruments along the way, and really kind of have always wanted to do it since I first started in the 6th grade.
So it just, I mean, it's obviously, it comes natural, but it's just something that just has been part of you from the get-go.
I suppose so. My mom used to tell me I used to beat on pots and pans until it drove her crazy in the kitchen. She tried to get me to be an artist. I drew all through elementary school. I wanted to be an art person, but if there's anything worse than spending your life playing music, I would have. That would have been the alternative.
John's one of those guys that whatever instrument he picks up, he's good at.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Just whatever it may be.
So Wayne, what got you writing?
Well, for years I played in cover bands back in the 70s and 80s, I guess. I don't really know at what point the switch just turned on, about creating and writing. But to sort of give you an analogy, for me, and there are a lot of good players out there, a lot of good bands doing cover material, and there's certainly a market for it. But for me, if I'm not on stage creating what I write, then it's no fun to me. I mean, I've got your songs are like your children.
Yeah.
You want to showcase them, you want to show them off a little bit, and I don't know. I guess the switch went off maybe 8-10 years ago. It's kind of like a guy comes up on a hillside, as a painter, and he puts his easel up, and he puts the canvas up, and he creates something from either his mind or his heart or his soul. That's artist. And then to me, like a cover band is an artist that comes up and he puts his easel up and the canvas up, and he throws a paint by number set up there.
Yeah.
Number
Yes,
13
yes.
is blue and number 14 is red.
Yes.
But I don't know, man. It's just there's an energy there when we're all on stage creating and things on the fly, and that's what it's all about, is creativity for me.
I always say, if you go to name your favorite artist, Bruce Springsteen, U2, any of those guys, you are watching original music.
Absolutely.
They're not out there doing covers, they're doing original music.
Absolutely.
Now, which one of you guys, I mean, do you, in writing for the band, do y'all collaborate and write, or is there one person that writes? Do you write solely for the band?
I usually come up with the ideas, and I guess the majority of the stuff we're doing came from me. But yeah, it's definitely a group participation. I mean, I bring a song to the table, throw it out at these guys, and all of a sudden they start just screwing it up. No, everybody contributes to the effort, and that's what makes it so great, because everybody brings in their own influences,
Yeah.
This guy will bring in something that's a little bit country into this song that started out as funk, so it gets kind of interesting by the time we get to the end of it,
Yeah.
Well, I have a question for you guys, and this is the question that causes earthquakes and rattles the stones, and
favorite.
Wars have been fought over this, and
I know what's
it's
coming.
definitely the most controversial question ever for a musician. And we'll start off with you, George. Elvis or the Beatles?
I'd have to say Justin Bieber, just so you know.
Justin
Wow.
I'd have to say Elvis, actually. The Beatles were great and creative, but Elvis started doing his thing first. So,
Yeah.
the reality is some cat out there in a cave with a rock and a stick. Really, that's where it came from.
Yeah. And for those of you children out there who don't know, the Beatles idolized Elvis. John?
Well, I've answered this question before. I think I'm going to stick with my original, the Beatles.
The Beatles. Very cool. And why specifically?
Well, I mean, Elvis did come first, and he was doing doing a very special thing that got a lot of attention. But he was really building on a tradition of great musicians that came before him. There were a lot of great black musicians around his area that never got the attention that they deserved, and it was reserved for Elvis and some of the generation that came up alongside him. And then really the Beatles kind of took that Chuck Berry and Elvis tradition and did something new with it. And they got into all this orchestration and all this interesting music composition stuff that just ignites all the sparks in my brain. So I really enjoy them.
Yeah.
What about you, Wayne?
The Allman Brothers.
The Allman Brothers.
There we go.
No, I have to say Elvis, you know, to me, he was just, it was a little more natural. Kind of came from the soul, came from the heart. That's the way it appeared to me. So I have to say Elvis. Yeah.
Elvis Presley. Well, I'll tell you what, let's check out some Wayne Minor Band, and we'll be right back after this.
Here's a little song we wrote at the first of this year, 2013. A little thing called Down at the End of the Road. Wish you'd break your code of silence. My telephone sounds weird when it don't ring. What do you think it would hurt for you to just call? What do you think it would hurt for you to just sing? Floating around, there's something out there for. There's got to be something out there better than this. I don't like the way things are, but I can't help it, babe. Unusual times, that's just the way that it is. Yeah, 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 yeah. I said that's just the way that it is. Well, there seems to be a great misunderstanding. You seem to get the whole damn thing all wrong. If you don't get what you want when you want it, babe, you just take your marble and you go home. An angel of mercy waiting up in heaven. But this I know, 'cause yes, I have been told. There ain't no pot of gold down at the end of a rainbow. There's always light down at the end of the road. Down at the end of the road. I said down at the end of the road. I said down at the end of the road. I said down at the end of the road. A bag of barbecue chips and a headache powder. First thing in the morning. Well, it's a breakfast of champions, a winner every time. If your love for me is awkward, you can keep it, babe. You just live in your lonely world and I live in mine. A crown of glory waiting up in heaven. Yes, I have been told there ain't
step right up, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages. Welcome to the greatest, well, second greatest show on earth.
Hello and welcome back to this edition of Minstrels on the Block. Special guest, the Wayne Minor Band. So, fellas, this is the part where we talk a little bit about what you guys have going on right about now.
Easy for you, so.
It's early in the morning. I'm a musician. So, what do you have going on right now?
Well, as I mentioned earlier, you know, George and I started this project about 4 years ago, maybe 5 years ago. I've been working in the government over at Warner Robins Air Force Base, and I've got a 30-year retirement coming up in a couple of months. So, and George is fixing to retire
Again.
and this bum over here doesn't work anyway. So, you know, when I retire and George retires, we're going to hit it pretty hard. We're sort of actively now looking for someone to do some artist management for us and bookings and that kind of thing. But we're going to go out and showcase our CD that we released a couple years ago. Hopefully we're going to do a new one coming up this year. So we'll have 2 CDs to push out there. And got a lot of new stuff on YouTube coming up for people to view. And hey, we'll be playing in the Columbus area, so you guys come out and hear us, you know.
Now, how far do you played in Columbus, and you're playing in Columbus. Where all do you play around the state?
We've been in Macon, Warner Robins, down in Florida, down at Sewanee.
Live Oak, yeah.
Yeah, down at Live Oak. Goodness, heading up towards Atlanta here pretty soon.
Cool.
So pretty much in the state. Like to stay busy. You know, finding venues for what we do is interesting.
Yeah.
And a challenge, but you know, that's what makes flavor happen. So,
That is true.
Yeah.
so yay for that.
Now, tell me a little bit about your first CD that you have.
Well, it was produced by a guy up in Atlanta at Creekside Studios by Jerry Hansen. He's a drummer who was the drummer for Randall Bramlett, the Randall Bramlett Band. Great producer. I kind of went in there with a head full of songs and laid them down and said, Jerry, make me sound good, you know, and he did a pretty good job of it. But the name of the CD is No Apologies, No Excuses, and that whole idea was I always wanted to have a finished product to hold in my hand, to hand to anyone, and make no apologies or no excuses about anything. You know, we always are handing something out and going, well, don't listen to the vocals because we ran out of money or something, you know. But this is a real honest effort, and yeah, just go to our website, you know, and check it out. I think you can still get it on CD, baby, as well. So,
And from us, we have lots and lots and lots.
Now, tell me about your vision for your album that you want to make.
well, I think it's going to be a lot more soulful this time. When we did the first record, even though there was a lot of funk stuff, we recorded it a little subdued. I want to say. This time we're going to unleash the bass player. We got a fabulous bass player that plays with us, who unfortunately is not here today, prior commitment. But it's going to be a little more funk and a little more in your face, a little more electric. So I think everybody will enjoy it.
Very cool. Let's go back a little bit. The question I usually ask in the early part of the show. What kind of music? Now you heard a lot of like gospel when you were growing up. What are some of y'all's earliest influences to you?
Well, my earliest influences were what my father used to listen to when we were riding around. I used to ride around with Dad a lot, going out to the flea market or driving down to Jekyll Island or something, and he always had a couple of tapes that he would go back to. There was a Van Morrison tape, and it was Van Morrison's Greatest Hits. And it was Volume 2, one with Coney Island on it. He would go back to that, and he would go back to Graceland by Paul Simon. And those are the first two two things where I remember hearing music and going, whoa, I wanna do something like that. That's really cool. Because those are both really, really cool albums, and they have a really unique sound and incorporate all these influences. So those were my early influences, and then I kind of got into listening to really difficult music when I was in high school and college, Zappa and Mahavishnu Orchestra and that kind of stuff. So I went way, way out on the limb, and I've come back to more organic styles lately.
How about you, George?
Out on the limb is where it's at. I'm like John with that. I grew up listening to anything you could possibly dream of. I found a way to go find it and listen to it. And when my wonderful grandmother bought me a guitar when I was about 11 years old for a Christmas present, I said, this is so cool. And first thing I did was start writing a song, and I thought, yeah, this is what I'm going to do. Of course, I had a couple of derailments and detours, but life's good about that, and here I am doing the same thing I want to do.
Now, it's time for the list. Now we just had an idea of what they came along listening to, and now it's time for the list, which takes us in the other direction. And any of you guys can answer in any order. Let's just say you're walking around the house on a Sunday afternoon, sipping a cold one or whatever. What are you most likely to be listening to on your white cylinder, 78, 33, 45, Victrola, 8-track, cassette tape, CD, iPod, or otherwise music delivering device?
Crusaders. You remember that group?
No.
Crusaders. Great jazz group, funk, soul. Spyro Gyro. Little Feat. Little Feat. I think that's probably about the best analogy that we can use to compare what we do, with a sort of a modern day group. Man, it's kind of, I'm from A to Z. I don't know, but that's pretty much it.
That's you, George.
Oh, well, it became harder to listen to modern recording stuff for me. I like listening to vinyl, and I used to have a pretty good bit of vinyl to listen to, and many of the same groups. Mostly these days, what I listen to is stuff I'm working on.
The Wayne Minor Band.
The Wayne Minor Band.
Yeah, I listen to a lot of whatever I'm working on for a project at the time. If I need to learn 12 songs by Friday, then that's what I'll be listening to. But when I'm not working on something, I'm usually not listening to a lot of music. I keep my head pretty clear. I try to get some good silence going once in a while and enjoy that. But when I do listen, I'm a vinyl guy too. And we got a record player out in the carport, and we'll go out and put on Paul Butterfield or Little Feat or some classic jazz. I'll listen to a lot of Max Roach and Clifford Brown. They put out some great albums in the 50s.
Cool.
So that's the kind of stuff.
Now, your teachers always ask you this in school. Where do you see yourself in 5 years? What's your goal for the band? Where would you like to see the band get long term?
Well, naturally, everybody wants to play the bigger venues, the outside concerts. But again, that's kind of what we are wanting, because again, our songs, our music, it's like our kids, it's like our children, and we want to showcase, we want to show it off, we're proud of it. And so naturally, the bigger events and the more the crowd, the merrier, so that's kind of where we're headed.
We like to see them jerk and twitch.
Absolutely.
All the way to the end.
There you go.
I'll tell you what, let's check out some more Wayne Minor Band. We'll be right back after this.
Here's probably the latest song that we've written, a little blues ballad entitled Do You Ever Wonder? We used to live in a world full of dreams. Life was so good and fun, ever it seemed. Life was so fun and good, just my family and me. The things in my past, the things I hold dear, they don't seem to last, oh no. And it does not seem fair, but I don't care to wonder just how we got here. As I sit by the warming fire, and as I fall into my dream, well, in love, yeah, love just seems to disappear. When two people drift apart, yeah, there's one question in my heart. Do you wonder? Do you ever wonder? As I sit by the warming fire, and as I slip into my dream, yeah, love just seems to disappear. When two people drift apart, yeah, there's one question in my heart. Yes, I wonder, do you ever wonder? So you got a new life, it's a new year, and it cuts like a knife. Yeah, to see you with him, but I don't care to wonder just how we got here. I don't care to wonder just how we got here. No, I don't wonder just how we got here. No, 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 I don't care to wonder, girl, just how we got here.
Hello and welcome back to this edition of Minstrels on the Block. Special guest, the Wayne Minor Band. So this is a section of the show. This is the pimping section. This is where we pimp stuff. So the shameless self-promotion. What do you guys have that you want everybody to know about?
Well, I think everybody should go to the website and sign up for our mailing list. And,
What is the website, Wayne?
Yeah, funny you should ask. www.wayneminor.com. And also order several thousand CDs, which I've got at home. And also go to YouTube and check out some of the latest stuff we've just floated there. So I guess that's about it.
Except for our fashion accessorizing we're going to go into. I've got this idea about aluminum space chicken outfits, and I think
really
everybody
cool.
needs one.
Yeah.
Awesome.
We've got a couple of appearances coming up, actually. One in the area, in the Valley area.
Junk Fest.
We'll be at Junk Fest on June the 8th. Junk Fest is a fantastically fun deal. We'll be going all day from 10:30 to 10:30 at night. We'll be going on the main stage at 5 o'clock.
There you go.
Very cool.
Yep.
Well, fellas, there's a couple of questions I'd like to ask. Now, it might vary a little bit for you guys, but what is your take? I usually ask, what's your take on the local music scene? But what's your take on the local music scenes that you have played in, and
Wow.
how do they compare?
The music scene that we're in right now, and I'm talking about the Macon area, to be honest with you, there's not a lot of original music going on out there.
Really?
We have found it sort of hard to book with the type of music that we play because it's all original.
Mm-hmm.
Club owners will tell you really quick, if you're not playing cover material, you can't play here.
Wow.
And that's, I really hate to see that because what they're going to end up in their club and their establishment is music that you've heard for 40 years and you'll never hear another new song, know. So I'd like to see it break out a little bit and get back to the 70s, like when the Allmans and all were there, and become a more artsy town instead of a cover band place,
Yeah.
But over here, it's pretty happening. We've played over here at some stuff and had a
Columbus is
very
different.
enjoyable
Yeah.
experience here.
Yeah, I've kind of got one foot in both towns still. Since I was over here for so long and then moved to Warner Robins and have been playing out over there, there is a difference between one place and the other. There's a different kind of environment, and I think it has a lot to do. It kind of goes back to the stuff that you and me were doing many years ago, Brian. We were playing random band jams and having a kind of organized chaos on stage,
Yeah.
getting people up to play together and trying to get some community going in the between all the players, and so everybody knows each other and knows each other's songs, and
And
they can all.
it's eclectic over here. You can
Yeah.
see a huge variety of things in this
Yeah.
neck of the woods.
And there are some really fine original acts over here. The Bibb City Ramblers and Soul and Corvus and Canis and Fire Mountain are a few of the groups that I've seen
Lazy
that are.
Swami guys.
Yeah, the Lazy Swamis. A few that are doing a really good job putting their own stuff out there like we're trying to do. And there's more of a scene for it over here because people are getting acclimated to it because there are more people doing it.
Yeah, and the random band form, like at Del Ranch, Henry Conley, that still goes on. It's not named Random Band, but the soul of it is still there, which is really cool. Because I don't know what I got into music shortly before I started playing with you guys, but I don't know what it was like beforehand. But ever since those days, it has been pretty eclectic, like you're talking about. People getting together and playing together.
I lived here in the 60s, and as an underage kid, I used to sneak into cool places like the Electric Toadstool and see guys do stuff that I was amazed by. One of my favorite bands was Arnold Bean back then, and they did some really neat stuff. So I was always enjoying the Columbus and Alabama, East Alabama area stuff. Yay for y'all.
Now, for people sitting out in the audience watching who might want to play, maybe they never have played, they're aspiring artists. What advice would y'all give to aspiring artists watching the show?
Wow.
Play your heart.
Absolutely. Don't ever fall into a mold. Whatever you feel is what should come through your fingers into your instrument. You know, learning from a book is great, and there's a definite foundation that you need there. But I'd much rather sit down with a player that plays from the heart and by ear, is what most people, is how they put it, than a learned player, you know, someone that's been to many years of school. So, yeah, just play what's in your heart, man. Let your soul come out.
John, what do you think?
Well, I do kind of argue in favor of a little bit of book learning, because good technique will enable the soul, but it is important to try new things and play something that you haven't played before every once in a while, at least.
Yeah. Being fearless. Yeah. That's it.
Yeah. Well, fellas, the Wayne Minor Band, I appreciate y'all coming on.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having us.
Thank you for having us.
And John,
Brian.
Magic next time.
Magic, yeah. We'll be expecting that deck of cards next time.
All right, I'll bring it.
And the bubble pipe.
Okay. Now
The
it's on
Wayne Minor
record.
Band. We hope you've enjoyed this edition of Minstrels on the Block. I'm your host, Brian Mallard. See you next time, only on CTV EA.
One of our earlier tunes called Best 2 Years. 1, 2, 3, 4. When you're outside under the street light, you're standing in the pouring rain. There's a system overload. You got too much on your brain. How did I get cold water running straight through my brain? I hear the angels calling me. I wonder how they know my name. Hold your head back, baby. Wash away your tears. You can say what you want to, but those were my best 2 years. Right back where I started from, lonely in my heart. I lost my best friend last night, and it's tearing me apart. Yeah, it's tearing me apart. Yeah, tearing me apart. Ooh, tearing me apart. Except for the tears, those were my best 2 years. I thought that you would wait on me, like I would wait on you. I had to wait 1,000 years, and that's just what I do. Together for a reason, by His holy name. I'm sorry that it makes you feel bad. It makes you so ashamed. Well, there's so many people try to tell you what to do. Those that know your heart like me are scattered and few. Come knocking on my blue door, you'll find shelter there. Come on inside, baby, say a little prayer. Yeah, say a little prayer. Hold your head back, baby. Wash away your tears. You can say what you want to. Those were my best 2 years. Knocking on my blue door. You'll find shelter there. Come on inside, baby. Celebrate. Say a little prayer. Yeah, say a little prayer. Ooh, say a little prayer. It's a for the tears. Those were my best 2 years. When you're outside under the streetlight, you're standing in the pouring rain. There's a system overload